And we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. I am super thrilled that you all have tuned into today's episode, and I have with me today none other than Robyn Hamilton. How are you, Robyn?
How are you, Kim? Good. Good to see you.
We actually had some backstage conversations, so we're in our own world over here, everybody. We've had a great time, even backstage. People don't know, right, Robyn?
They don't know. They don't know what goes on in that backstage. They don't know.
See, that right there, that's for our Patreon members. We have what's called a Patreon membership. So we say some stuff for backstage that you don't get a chance to get exposed to. Yes. So membership does have its privileges. That's for sure. Robyn, I'm so glad you're here today. I know you've been doing some traveling. So how does it feel just to be settled down for a few moments?
You know what? I think I've been sitting in a seat for 24 hours without being in an airport. It is wonderful. It's awesome. I'm one of those people that still loves to sleep in their own bed. I'm one of those still. Yeah, I love to come home to my own bed. So I'm grateful just to have it to come home to and to be in it right now. So, yes.
Isn't that interesting? Because literally, no matter where you travel around the world, around the country, I know I've traveled many places and some places that are like dream locations. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, when you get to come back home and
Yes. I tell folks there's still nothing like home. This isn't, still nothing like home.
Well, everyone listen, as you're grabbing your virtual seats, make sure you let everyone know to tune into this episode. Is going to be a delightful experience, probably more like a roller coaster ride, because we're going to learn some things about Robyn and her backstory. We're also going to get a chance to learn about a very important event that's happening that you don't want to miss, and that's the Whitney M Young Jr. Gala event that's taking place on this Friday, August 2nd. And so we're going to hear a lot more about that as well. And then any questions that you all may have as well for our guests, we'd love for you to be able to pop them in the comment section. Let us know who you are and where you're visiting in from. And what we'll do is we'll take a quick commercial break. Then when we come back, we're going to get right in with our conversation with Robyn Hamilton. We'll be right back, everyone, right after this break. Hi, I'm Kim Jacobs, the Managing Director of the Charlotte, North Carolina chapter of Ewen Network. I am so excited that you stopped to watch this video. I've got good news for you. You've just discovered an international network of women entrepreneurs who are committed to helping you achieve, succeed, and prosper. We're on a mission here to help 1 million women entrepreneurs each achieve $1 million in annual revenue. Here at eWomen Network, we have a complete success system that supports you every step of the way in building and growing your business. You being here right now is no accident. We're supposed to know about you. We want to meet you to find out how we can help you as well as learn about what you have to offer. With over 500,000 women connected through 118 chapters across the United States, Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom, you are never alone. If this is resonating with you, please go to ewomennetwork.com/Charlotte. Notice too my contact information. I invite you to reach out to me and to check out our upcoming in-person and online events. I'm really looking forward to introducing you to our special community. All right, everyone. So make sure you check out eWomen Network in the Charlotte area. I'm the new managing director here and love the opportunity to serve you in that capacity. Listen, Robyn Hamilton serves as the president and CEO of the Urban League of Central Carolinas. The Urban League is North Carolina's oldest civil rights organization, and she is a seasoned leader who has built deep trust in many communities across the United States. So this isn't just where it began for her. We're going to actually learn her backstory. But I also want you to know that she's a mission-driven leader. Her passion for helping people and strengthening communities and improving lives was a winning combination that actually helped her lead the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services Health Opportunities Pilot on behalf of Dogwood Health Trust. At Novant Health, she was the Director of Community Engagement for the regional not-for-profit integrated health system, and she served on the leadership team as the Senior Advisory of Diversity, Business Relations, and Procurement for the 2012 Democratic National Convention. She was responsible for achieving the unprecedented. See, that's why we have to have, first of all, I'm going to take a break on the bio. We have to have the whole hour just so I can get through this beautiful bio, because I'm not going to leave one piece out. It is so critically important to know who is before us. She was the responsible party for achieving the unprecedented 41% diversity spend with a political convention that happened. During the tenure as the CEO of Carolina's Minority Supplier Development Council, Robyn authored and established the Charlotte Minority Economic Development Initiative for the Charlotte Chamber of Commerce in 2011, which generated over $52 million, y'all, over $52 million in contracts and created 469 jobs for minority-owned firms. Many remember the work that Robyn did with Charlotte's African-American leaders with Access Charlotte, a mentoring program for African-American emerging executives. She holds an MBA from Queen's University and a BA in Human Resource Management from St. Leo College. She honorably served our country in the United States Army as a military intelligence analyst and in the United States Air Force as a social actions specialist. Yes, I want everybody, if we could all give a standing ovation and a round of applause to Robyn Hamilton. Welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. You're so eloquent, Kim. It's really just really sweet to hear you say those words. And so it's also an honor for me. I was looking at some of your shows and I was like, where's this woman been all my life? I was like, I need to have these conversations on a regular basis. So thank you so much for the work that you're doing, and just the conversation, not just about balance, but about life and the things that are important. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you as well. So Robyn, whenever I think about you, I think about a woman that's worn so many different hats, and you embody grace and poise, even in the midst of, regardless of what situations and circumstances you may have encountered throughout your life. Yeah. If you would just take us back and tell us a little bit about your backstory. Who was Robyn back in the day before you became Robyn, the CEO?
Listen, I'm like so many, just a sinner saved by grace, like so many. So, but I will tell you, I have been really, really, really blessed. I had two wonderful parents that were so invested in me and wanting to see myself and my brothers and sisters do well. But primarily grew up in Denver, Colorado, which was a strange place to grow up for, a young African-American child, but, had a great neighborhood, great community. And I just like so many of us, I didn't know, failing was an option, right? So you just did what you had to do. And I tell people, I didn't go out and say, one day I'm going to be the executive director of a not-for-profit. I'm going to run a couple of not-for-profits, right? I tell people this career path chose me. I didn't choose it. But, the one thing that is a red thread, if you look through so many experiences I've been blessed with, has been my desire to create access and create access for people. So my backstory really is about, I've always had this thing about wanting to create access for people that don't have access, right? Or may not necessarily have the things that I have. And how do I make sure that, they have it too? And so that's just always been a passion of mine. And this past weekend, I was at my mom's house, and like you go in the back room, and they keep saying, "I want you to come go through these things with me." You're like, "Oh, I'm gonna go through these things." Right. And I went to the back room, and I started going through these pictures, and I started seeing pictures of my mother I've never seen before. And one of them was when she was probably early 20s, and she was standing in the Illinois state legislature. And then I began to look at some pictures, and I was like, oh my goodness, this journey I'm on was really seeded even way back then, because I'm looking at my mom's journey and the things that she's done, and I'm going, she did this, and I saw pictures of her at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago,
And
right?
you didn't even know that. You didn't know that, Robyn, until you saw these pictures?
I knew the early stuff I did not know about, but some of the stuff, like I knew that she had run for office. I knew that she was gone to the Democratic National Convention. I knew she had held some political appointments, but you just, when you go back and you're like, they've been planting the seed for a while, right? I was like, this has been happening, this has been coming for a while, the whole time. Now, when I grew up, I wanted to be either a rancher or I wanted to be a truck driver. That was my thing. I'm going to be a rancher or I'm going to be a truck driver. And so here I am, and I look at it, and Kim, I am standing on my mom's shoulders, and just didn't realize that path was already laid out.
Interesting. And what that reminds me of, Robyn, is the fact that when we talk about planting seeds, many times we don't realize that when we plant, the harvest may not come for a long time, but ultimately, like the pictures reminded you, the harvest ultimately did come. It came through you.
Yep.
And so your mom was planting the seed, but then some watering had to take place along.
There you go. Yep, that's exactly what happened. Exactly.
Amazing. Mm-hmm. Amazing. And look what the fruit that is produced, right?
And so I'm hoping that I'll fall and also seeding and talking with so many people and young folk now, and not even just young folk, just folk in general who are anxious to really take advantage and really dive in at this time in our history. The air is palpable, so much that's happening, not just the resurgence again of the conversation about the Civil Rights Act, right, which is 60 years old this week, and so much about the conversation about what's happening in the presidential race. I mean, it's just, the air is palpable, and I love it, that we can have this conversation again about the shoulders that we stand on. Sometimes we forget, right? We get comfortable. And so it's been an exciting time.
So do you feel like this is like, you know how you feel like, I'm created for such a time as this? Like, this is your season, that God has pushed you into this role as a CEO of the Urban League of Central Carolinas. It's a big deal. This is not some little feat. This is a huge accomplishment. How do you feel about your role?
I feel, to your point, it's a wonderful thing, and I can't say I've always felt this way, but it's a wonderful thing to be in a place where you're supposed to be, right? And to feel like you've lined up where God would have you. And so when you said for such a time as this, I was like, yeah, that's what this feels like. And so like I said, I can't remember too many times in my career that I felt that way. And so that feels important to me, but I also feel very, very sober. I feel very vigilant. I feel very committed and responsible for what is happening right now and what needs to happen. And I definitely understand that this is my window, but this is also like, I absolutely have to pave the way, create a crack, right, to get some other folk in, because I'm not going to be here forever. And so I need to figure out that part as well. Stabilize this organization, grow the organization, but we have got to be about the business of creating those that are going to come behind us and lifting them up and feeding them and positioning them. So I
love you. Like, I love you. This is everything that I believe in. What you're saying is being able to create your successor and being able to build a legacy while you're here in the role that you're in. To be able to say, okay, hey, I'm not just going to go on to do these great feats myself, but I'm going to create a situation and offer an opportunity for you to be pulled along this journey with me.
That's right. Absolutely critical. Absolutely critical. I used to work a lot with minority businesses, and one of the unfortunate things about minority companies is that they often the owner will leave with all the intellectual capital and goodwill, and we don't create these succession plans. And I believe that we have lost so much just wealth and possibility and opportunity because we didn't think about who's coming along next, right? And so, just being intentional about that. I feel like that's probably the next level of endeavor we have got to do a better job at. of making sure, you know, we got them lined up. You know, I need 4, 5, 6 of them lined up. You know, let's get you ready to go. You know, if it's not here, let's get you wherever you got to get to. But, you know, we gotta get them ready.
Right. But getting people ready is key too, because just because of our nationality does not mean that you are afforded the opportunity just because. It is being ready and being not having to get ready all the time, but being ready when the opportunity presents itself.
That's right. Stay ready to keep from having to get ready. That's right.
Right. And Maya Angelou says that I really love her quote, because she actually says it best, or said it best, when we can do the best we can. Just do the best you can until you know better. But then once you know better,
do better.
Do better.
Do better.
And so I believe people like you, Robyn, you're coming here on the scene, and you've been on the scene for many, many years. It's just now different people are finding out more about you because of your new role. But I just believe that you're here to help us do better.
Yeah. And I hope so. And you asked earlier about, you know, the role and how I got here. And, you know, I just came in as an interim. I was just passing through. Right. I'm just trying to help out until we can get y'all really great. We're going to get y'all an amazing CEO. Right. I'm just going to hold it down till they get here. That's all I was here for, Kim. I was passing through. And, you know, because again, I was like, you know, kind of been there, done that, you know, the whole nine. And I mean, I knew about the Urban League, obviously, you know, so many of us do. But I'm going to tell you what blew me away and what made me say, wait a minute. There's something here. My very first year, I had the opportunity to go on the Hill and spend some time with about 80 other colleagues, 80 other presidents. And we went on the Hill and spent some time. And when we, one afternoon, we went over to the White House, and, you know, we sat and we heard briefings, and I'm watching the people that are coming through.
Right.
And I'm going like, these aren't like lower level staffers, right? Not that there's anything wrong being lower staff, but usually, you know, when the lead in the agency feels compelled to come through and tell you what's going on, you're like, okay, well, wait a minute, there's something here.
Right.
What floored me was through the course of the day, you know, President Joe Biden decides to walk in and spend 45 minutes just shooting the noise with us. I was like, is the leader of the free world in here just kicking it with us? And the reason that stuck out to me was it made me realize, I was like, wait. This organization, I mean, of course, we know about the Urban League. We know it has reach. But when the president of the United States feels compelled to just come hang out with, you know, 80 of your colleagues, right? You and 80, it really said something to me. When I got back to Charlotte, I began to really, really, really look at not just the work of the Urban League, but I started looking at the work of the Urban League around the United States. And I realized, okay, yeah, we in the Carolinas have not even scratched the surface in what our Urban League can do for our community. And that's where I started rolling up my sleeves, and I was like, there's something here, and we have to really hone it, embrace it, because this is a window. I tell people this is just a window of time.
That's right.
So we've got to be deliberate, and that's what made me say, yeah, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay here. This is the assignment until further notice, you know.
And I'm so glad you did. I know everyone throughout the Central Carolinas, we are honored to have you here, and that you decided to stay in place, because again, it's for such a time as this. So we're honored to have you here. Very honored. Listen, when I'm thinking about all of the different roles and responsibilities that you hold throughout your career, do you feel like they're so vastly different? Because they are, but do you feel like there was like a stepping stone ultimately to where you are at this point, that it prepared you for where you are? And if so, how did that work for you?
So I didn't know I was being prepared, right? But, you know, you just kind of go from stone to stone to stone. You know, I tell people all the time, you know, a lot of folks say they ain't out here walking on water. They just know where the stones are, right? That's what's going on. They ain't walking on water. They just know where the stones are. And so, you know, I never really said, oh, I want to go become this. I never did that for my next role. A lot of times folks came and said, hey, listen, this is going to be happening. We'd love for you to come consider it. And I'd say, no, I don't want to do that. I'd finally got this place right where I wanted. And sure enough, I'd be like, okay, you know, and I'd go and I'd try something else. And so, you know, again, I've been really, really, really honored to be given some amazing opportunities to do things in community. So, you know, I take a little bit of everything that I've learned, and not just from the big roles, right? I spent 4 years in Louisiana, just a short little time, but in those 4 years, I think I learned more about just humility, humanity, and grace than anything. So even in dealing in places that had extreme poverty, and these weren't people that were putting on suits and had access to influential people, I learned just as much there as I did in any other role. And so every little single role I had seemed to prepare me for the next role, right? And you don't realize it's even happening until you get to the next role and you're like, oh, that's why I needed to learn that, right?
Yeah. That's interesting. And that's exactly, in my opinion, how God works. Yep. It's like, okay, you know what? We only know in part. We only know little bits and pieces of it. But we have to trust the process and be able to just take the next step, that leap of faith, and then let's see what's going to happen as a result of that. And
that's right.
That's what you did. Listen, we're going to take another commercial break, everyone. And when we come back, we're going to get into some more conversation about the Urban League. So I want to give you a courtesy heads up. We're going to be talking more about the mission of the Urban League and what your role is even in the Carolinas. Okay? We'll be right back, everyone, right after this commercial break. Robyn, I'm loving this interview already. We'll be right back.
My father had 4 of his fingers amputated in a workplace accident. It was the first injured individual I represented. And I knew I had to win that case. When someone walks into my office and they've been injured, I know what they're going through. If you've been injured at work, work with Hunter and Everage. We've got the experience, so let us help you.
Yes, everyone, make sure when you do reach out to Hunter Everage Law Firm, let them know that the Kim Jacobs Show sent you their way. And we love any of our partners and opportunity to be able to serve you in this capacity as we're bringing balance to this world, one household at a time. Listen, I want to make sure that you know that the Urban League has been around a gazillion years, okay? So I would love for you to just talk about what the mission is of the Urban League.
Sure. Thank you for that. So the National Urban League has been around for over 100 years. And most folks know about, you've often heard about the NAACP through the Civil Rights Movement. Well, they call them the Big Six. You had a number of these civil rights organizations that were working hand in hand along the side. We always laugh about, when you got in trouble and got in jail, you called the NAACP, because they had the legal defense fund. So that's why we all know, we like, who you call when you get in trouble.
Right. But the Ghostbusters, you call them NAACP.
Right. You're like, you have to call them. We don't do that over here. So, but the Urban League was really the organization that, really focused in on the things that stabilized and would grow the community. And what I mean by that is, they focused in on health, right? Their focus of Urban Leagues on making sure that people have access to healthcare. And again, that was going on, way back almost 100 years ago when they were really doing that. They focused in on education, right? They were a big part of making sure that we were advocating for education. And then when it had to go over to the courts, right? That's when the NAACP would take it over and they'd say, okay, this has to be litigated and this is a policy issue. They were very focused in on housing. Urban League has always been an advocate for, just and quality and safe housing. So that's also been something they've been instrumental on. And one of the things that they've really been known for is workforce development. Right. And workforce development continues to be, for the Urban League of Central Carolinas, their mainstay. I have 92 partners, 92 affiliates around the United States. And we all sort of have our own little specialties, but most of us have a really strong workforce development programs. And that's because we know we can give you, right, the means to be able to take care of your family. You can choose the neighborhood you want to live in, right? You can have healthcare. Right, quality healthcare, right? You can do those type of things. You can choose a neighborhood that not only may have safe housing, but also have a great school district, whatever that might be, right? So all of those things sort of tied into one another. And obviously, we are a policy and advocacy group. That's where we know the fight often is, and the fight continues. So we don't lose sight of that as well. So our mission is more than anything to figure out how do we really see social justice, but also I call it economic justice. And so we've always been about that mainstay of economic justice so that you could have even a voice sometimes in social justice.
That's good. And I've been affiliated with our local Urban League and love it, especially when there was a former person there. But I will tell you that every time I've ever been a part of any initiative, it's been packed. So it's like the word gets out. Lots of people flood in and are extremely excited, almost to the point where they trust the Urban League. So I think a trusted piece of the community is what I see it as personally.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Because that means more than you know. And I think that I tell people often that's the differentiator. Often I tell them that the Urban League we're not a community-based organization, we're an institution. And so it is absolutely important that we remember that, and that we are a trusted organization. So how we move and how we dedicate and how we do things is absolutely critical, and how we can not, I tell people, it's not to differentiate ourselves. Folks are often like, oh, why do we go to the Urban League? Differentiate yourself. They're doing that over there. What separates us, that I tell people, is we've been working on upward mobility for 100 years.
This is not new. This is not us.
Right. Somebody just coined it in a white paper, and all of a sudden, it's a thing. So we've been working on, EEO and all these things. We've been working on affirmative action for 100 years. So none of this stuff is new. These things aren't initiatives for us. This is life. This is what our desire and our focus and our mission has been for multiple years. So this is not something that's a mainstay that will be shiny for now and go away. Right? It will stay.
Right. I love that you said that. It's not just shining temporarily, but this is something that is here. It's been here for the long haul, and it's going to be here well beyond when we're gone.
Absolutely.
It's here. It's not just a project or
there you go. It's not right. I tell people, we don't run programs, right? I mean, I get what people are saying, but that's not the intent of what we're trying to do. I tell people, don't come to me for a job, but you can come to me for a career. All right, let's get you transitioned, to a different level. And so that's really where we want the investment to be in our community, is beyond what you would normally just see, just something basic.
Wow, I love it. I love it. So now, with you becoming the new president of the Urban League, and for those that are tuning in, for the Urban League of the Central Carolinas area, what's been your biggest prideful moment? I don't want to say pride, because sometimes pride and haughty is weird, and then fall. Let's just be careful. What's been your most exciting, grateful moment that you've experienced as the Urban League president?
I've had so many. I've had so many. I mean, I've had a ton. So there's
you if you want.
Okay, well, there's three of them that stand out. I think probably my number one is watching my team's growth, watching them just grow as individuals, and stretching them, and them in tears, thinking they can't do something, and this is too hard, and I don't know how to do this. Yeah, you can, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not letting you off the hook. Let me know how it works out. Come back and see me, right? And so, seeing that growth and seeing them begin to work at the top of their license, right? So that is a huge piece for me. We've grown from 6 people to 17 people. And, I would just say we will double in the next year. So this organization is growing very quickly. So I'm excited about that. I think the second thing is watching our students, go from thinking that, they're just coming to get some little job training class.
Right.
And I walk in and I listen to our instructors. We spend I feel like we spend 25% of the day talking about, the technical aspects, but that's it. And then the rest of the day is life. The rest of the day is, I tell people, I was like, in a lot of ways, we're raising men and women, right? People that maybe didn't have someone that talked to them like this, someone that didn't invest with them like this. So, we are having that time and that moment with them. And that's everything to me, right? That is everything to me. And then I think one of the most unique moments also, I would say, is we have a father's program.
You said
a father's program.
Okay.
Yeah. It's called Father's Haven. We love it. Kelly Little and Shablee Dandridge help us facilitate this program at the Urban League, but it's a program of Mecklenburg County for from the child support enforcement. But it starts. That's how they get to us.
Right.
These jokers stick around. They, and it's turned into, what I'm saying? And it's turned into sort of this group where these dads come together once a month. And I mean, Kim, to be a fly on the wall, just to be in the room, I just show up to be like, I'll just serve some chicken. Can I get you some mac and cheese? What y'all need, And because just to listen to them and to hear these men process fatherhood and process being, a man, because we don't just have Black men, just process being a man and trying to understand the relationship between men and women and trying to understand how the role that they play in this maternal health crisis. And I mean, all of those things, that's a real source of pride for me to see these men working through that and understanding where their role is. So definitely grateful for that.
Well, I'm over here doing everything today by myself. I told you.
Oh, listen, girl, that's what we talked about. We're doing it all today. Oh.
So I typed all of this while you were talking, watching my staff grow, watching my students grow, and the Father's Haven program. Yeah. Just a few things that you've been grateful for as the new president. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Proud. I know you can do like 1,000 more because it's so much gratitude for sure. But I do want to take time to learn more about Whitney M. Young and who is he and why is it important to be celebrating something in honor of him? Even though I already know the answer. This is for you all in the studio audience. Okay.
So, so Whitney M. Young is just a remarkable young man who worked really, literally hand in hand with Martin Luther King and Lyndon B. Johnson, particularly on the war on poverty, because he knew how it was hitting our community at all times high. When Mr. Young took his post at the Urban League, he was actually in 1961, he was only 40 years old. Yes. And, when he got the organization, it was 38 employees. He grew up from 38. Now, he was only there 10 years. He grew up from 38 employees to 1,600. And he grew the organization from $325,000 a year to $6 million a year.
That's right.
But it's not so much that he understood or that he grew the organization. It's that he really gave it the voice and gave it an opportunity for folks to understand this is the value proposition of American civil rights, right? This is why this is relevant for all of us. And so, right, his conversation around the American civil rights movement, obviously greatly expanded, the mission and the support and the influence that the organization had. And so that's the reason he was just a pivotal leader who took the organization to a new heights. And so that's one of the reasons why we celebrate Mr. Young, that and just the fact that, again, he was an absolutely mainstay and force to be reckoned with in the civil rights community. And so we're grateful for the leadership, and he is among many, shoulders that we stand on. So that's the reason we celebrate Mr. Young. That's one of many reasons we do that. But then, it's you want to encourage, and you want to encourage people to continue to strive. You want to encourage people to say, hey, this is still an important time. These are still times where we should celebrate the people that are getting into good trouble and making sure that they still feel that we see you, right, that we see you. And so that's why it's important that we feel like we acknowledge and give this award out. And when you look at the people that we've given to, particularly last year and this year, I mean, they've gotten in good trouble. And so certainly honored to be able to honor that and that they would accept the award. I tell people it's also an honor when you accept the award from us. So, from Governor Roy Cooper, who we're excited to celebrate, to our the Mecklenburg County Council of Elders. I can't tell you how honored I am to just be on a stage with them and the work that they do. To Rocky McGregor, who I tell people, I was like, I don't think Rocky McGregor has ever said no to anybody about anything.
No.
To this incredible large group of executives who decided to step away from their career for a year and go into the Charlotte Mecklenburg school systems under the incredible leadership of my superintendent, Crystal Hill, and say, you know what, we're going to put a business lens on maybe, there's something different that we can support. Because when you think about it, a lot of these public service folks and that are working hard through the course of the day, a lot of times they don't get a chance to work on the business of running a school district, right? Because they're working on the people. And we want them to. So for these folks to step away from their career for a year to step in and say, let us handle that. Let us do what we do best. I just think that's something that we can't just let slide by. We need more of that. And we want that. We want this award to encourage more to consider that type of behavior.
And this is a commemorative year. You're commemorating 46 years of impact, right?
Yep, this is the 46th annual gala, so we are fast approaching 50. And so, Kim, you got to come spend some time with us because we are going to celebrate big. But and I say it's like each year I'm like, oh, this is a pivotal year. And every year it's like something else. I'm like, no, this is a pivotal year. So we're feverishly getting out, folks registered to vote. We are feverishly, trying to make sure that folks understand, the various different issues that are on the ballot. And making sure that that they get out and exercise the right that's been given to them. This is a year where we're talking a tremendous amount about violence, and how it's affected our community. Obviously, Black maternal health, how that's affecting our community. And one of the things that if folks are going to start hearing a lot from the Urban League, we're going to be talking about learning loss.
Learning loss, okay.
I don't think that people understand the impact of the learning loss that happened during COVID. And so, we've been following it and looking at it. And I tell people often, listen, you have a lot of organizations that are doing amazing work, right? The Urban League doesn't necessarily need to do a literacy program. The Urban League doesn't need to do necessarily what they're doing, right? The Urban League needs to stand in the gap where other organizations maybe don't have the capacity to do that. So we decided to go after learning loss and work alongside to figure out how do we get college students into the school system during the day.
Okay.
So that they can pull individual students out and say, this year, you're going to walk alongside with me and we're going to get you caught up. Because teachers can only do so much. Right. And on top of that, then you go home, you're trying to get folks in the bathtub. You're trying to get folks fed. You're trying to get homework done. And a lot of times you're just helping them get homework because that assignment is done, needs to be done. Not that they necessarily understand it.
That's right.
So who's going to take the time to do that? So we decided to take that on alongside with a wonderful organization called Pearl and figure out how do we get college students into the classroom during the day. And, we're feverishly raising money right now to figure out, because I want to pay these students, we want to put you in an Uber so it can be consistent. Right. This is not a virtual movement. We need you on the scene. We need you there. So, just things like that are what keeps us motivated, keeps us focused on the work at hand. And like I said, every year, I'm like, no, this is a pivotal year.
This is going to be a pivotal year.
Pivotal year. Okay? I'm like, oh, is it another pivotal year? It's another pivotal year. So it's
know what? That's because you're always ever learning, ever growing, ever becoming, and being even better than the year before. Yeah. So every year is going to be a pivotal year.
Every year is a pivotal year.
Yeah. So 50 is going to be like an epic pivotal year.
I want fireworks. I want all the foolishness. I told him, I was like, listen, I'm old. I'm like, I want Boys to Men. I want the whole, what I'm saying? I want all of that. Yeah. I want all of that. You know what I'm saying?
Now, you know what, Robyn? I must be way too comfortable with you for me to belting out a song when I know I cannot sing at all. So you done tricked me. You tricked me into doing something on the show.
I'm just bringing it back. That's all, Kim. Sometimes you just got to bring it back.
Oh, that's so funny. Okay, listen, everybody. Listen, I see lots of comments coming in. And I do want to take a moment to acknowledge in our studio audience. First of all, I see you, Kimberly Fallis. I see you, Dr. Tina J. Ramsey, Dr. Lotus Vache. I see all of you, Dr. Colin Clark, Virginia Rutherford Hall. All of you, Dennis Hilliard, Joe Duncan from WCCB over there. He's tuned in to you today too. I see you over there. All right, listen, let me take some of these comments over here and see if people have any questions. If you have any questions, we'd love to do a flash round with Robyn, our guest here, and maybe she may be able to address some of your questions, concerns regarding the Urban League and any initiatives that they have going on. I see you, Virginia. Let's see. Lotus Vache has a show. It's a global program as well. It's called the Dr. Lotus Vache Ignite Show. She said, hello and great day to you. Great day. She also said that the Urban League is historically known to help our communities in powerful ways to help grow communities.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Very true.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you for that. That is certainly something that is relevant and more important even today with what's happening in our communities. And so I tell people, again, this isn't a novice work for us. This is what we do.
That's right. And Dr. Tina J. Ramsey, this is where I was telling you backstage that we stream to 100 countries and 350 million households, that this show gets packaged and sent there. So Dr. Tina J. Ramsey is actually the founder of CTR Media Network. So thank you so much for
outstanding pleasure. Thank you, Dr. Tina.
And thank you for even allowing the Kim Jacobs Show to stream on CTR Media Network. Listen, If you have any other questions or anything, please type them now in the comment section. We'd be honored to be able to get to them. Robyn, as you are leading this charge, what advice would you give people that may be interested in starting some type of job pursuit, but they really don't even know what the first step is? Because that's what you all are well known for, workforce development. Any thoughts that you can share with our audience today?
Sure. So I'm gonna give them the auntie tough love. Okay. I'm not the one, oh, just do what's in your heart.
Okay,
No.
well, then if you're doing the auntie version, I got to put you front and center. Here you go.
Okay. We do an auntie front. So yeah, listen, this is you've got to look around and realize, where are the opportunities, right? I mean, ask a lot of questions, visit a lot of organizations, and see where the opportunities actually are, right? A lot of them are right in front of you, right? Pursue something that is in high demand. Pursue something that, you're not going to worry about being essential or not essential or whatever that might be, right? So that might mean doing something that you're not in love with, but something that stabilizes your family, stabilizes your life, stabilizes, the necessities that you need. And then it's from that, I believe, people should springboard to think about what's next. But, stabilize yourself, put yourself in a career path, not just a job. Give yourself some options. I love that we are rebuilding, folks into the trades. And so, if you're going to be looking at this, what are things, and this is what we're seeing, what are things that, you could learn, and tomorrow you could go out and hang your shingle on Angie's List or homeadvisor.com or, wherever that might be, and be able to sustain yourself and your family no matter what. That's the reason I believe this whole gig economy has really taken off, and folks are doing things a little bit differently. But, that's where I believe that you start. Okay. And then you can start talking about, I want to go do some things that I love, and you can, but right now think about stabilization. So then that way you could hear, when something's on fire, you can't really hear. And so, if you could just get yourself stabilized, and that way you could hear about the various different ways to grow wealth. You can hear about, I went this far in my education. Well, maybe I do want to go this much further because it will do this for me, right? Or you might say, hey, now that I'm stabilized, this is how I'm going to sow into my family, my friend, my community to maybe help some others get stabilized, right? You see things differently. And so that's where I really want to encourage our community. And for those of us that are stable, get involved, right? It's our responsibility. We always talk about to whom much has been given, much is required, but it really is still required for us to figure out how are we going to pull folks along, even when they don't want to come, right? Mm-hmm. How do we figure out that we can still get involved? That's what we know, what we've been given, and what we've been given access to. How do we help that again? And sometimes doesn't mean you have to go out and picket a line and get on the news and lay out in the street. All that. Some of it's just literally making a financial investment into an organization like an Urban League or the volunteer hours. I tell folks all the time, there's all kinds of talent we need, but we can't afford, right? Mm-hmm. So, so work with us in that. So I think that that's where people need to be thinking, not so much, go out and just, follow your heart, stabilize your life. So
stabilize your life. Somebody type that in the comment section, please. Because Dr. Lotus Richey on her show, she says the note takers are money makers. So make sure y'all taking some notes today.
I like that.
Watch the replay, but make sure you're taking some notes and stabilize your family first. So it may not be something that you love doing, but you get the opportunity to learn that new trade, that skill, and you can get some income. Yes. Robyn, I was actually the Power Networking Conference with Dr. George Frazier and Pamela Luhing had invited me to that. And it was a powerful conference. But one of the things that I loved, it was right here in Charlotte at the Charlotte Convention Center. But one thing that I learned was that these people that had been there the previous year, they were like millionaires. And I was like, how many people do that? And they were talking about how last year they were this and now they're this. And what they were sharing were things that there's a significant need for in the community.
That's right.
But if somebody in the room would do this thing, and they would lay out what that thing is, then it's so many people that would need it. And can I give you one example? I'll give you one example.
Please.
One example that they said was about drones. And they were saying that if you were to become a manufacturer of drones, then fire departments, the police department, all of these different entities automatically would need drones. And so who could create this? And so that's just okay, y'all don't say you heard it on the Kim Jacobs show, but it really was from the Power Networking Conference. All right. But I thought that was just such a profound example. I know I'm not going to create drones, but that's a skill that somebody could.
No, I do. I've also told, even when I was working with small and minority-owned businesses, I was like, listen, this is. I remember some people. I was like, dry cleaners aren't sexy, but we're gonna need them, right? I mean, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, because I know I got to get to the dry cleaner before the end of the day, right? So I tell people, you got
you dry cleaning some stuff.
listen. So I'm going to dry cleaners. HVAC. I have been blown away about the world I've learned about the HVAC industry. Y'all, what I say is AI is not going to be, AI, you ain't got to worry about AI in that, right? AI is not coming to fix your plumbing. They're not doing it. And my plumber has got to make more money than I do, because I'm telling you, I spend more time with my plumber than I care to. So, I mean, there are organizations, there are trades, there are things out there that if you just look around. So like I said, I tell people, it doesn't have to be this, I'm going to write a business plan. I'm going to it's sometimes it's just, pick up, learn a trade. I often tell people, you could go work for somebody that may wind up being your first client. Right. So, and building your company from there and asking questions and seeing, what comes from that. But you never know. You just never know. But it doesn't have to be this, I've got to go to 4-year college and I've got to do this and this is what's going to happen. I've told my son, who he's going to be a senior in high school this year, I said, before you go to college, you will have a trade.
That's right.
Pick one. I don't care what it is, but you're going to have a trade.
You're going to do something.
Yeah, I was going to say, so, maybe you can make you some little pocket change while you're in college or whatever that is, but you need to have a trade. And, that's those back in the day things that, they used to say to us all the time. We got away from it. I don't know why, again, I think comfort, but, we got away from it. So just some things, it's just simple. It's just simple. I hope you become an Instagram influencer, but for right now, right, I'm like, I just need you to just be for show about some things and then grow into these other things, right? Just some basic common stuff.
I love it. I was actually, I was sitting here looking to try to find, I have 5 children as well. And one of my, I'm going to see if I can share the screen for a second. I'm going to share this. 5 of my children that I have, I tell them the same thing. We have family meetings and we're talking, and I'm like, listen, you have to have a skill, a trade, something that you do. And ultimately, pull this in right quick. 2 of my sons decided that they're going to use some teamwork and go into this whole roofing industry. So with all of the
Ivan and Jeremiah, listen, that's what I'm talking about. Listen, if I get a roof, y'all write this down, because I'm definitely, that's my new roofer. They my new roofers. But that's exactly what I'm talking about, right? This is not, and let me tell you something else. Why I love seeing this is awesome. Is that also, I tell folks, if you've got the cash or you can combine with somebody else, you can buy a company. You'd be amazed. A lot of folks they're aging out. Their kids don't want it. We talked about this with succession. You could do that, right? But I mean, this is a perfect example. Look at Ivan and Jeremiah. I could hug them. That is exactly. This is free, y'all. We live in North Carolina. I don't know how many storms between us and let me think, Louisiana and a couple other folks. We are going to get hit by these storms. Absolutely. You're going to need a roof. AI is not coming to fix your roof, right? That's right. They will not be without, and they'll be able to create jobs, right? And create other entrepreneurs, right? And so excited to see that. That's awesome.
Thank you so much. And both of them battle a disease called cystic fibrosis. It's a lung disease. So they helped raise $2.2 million for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation last year. So they're not, they are men on a mission. Not just out here doing free roof inspections, but helping to educate, especially African-American communities, to know that you do get the opportunity to have that free inspection. And then from there, whatever has to happen with the claims, and if you're approved and all of that stuff, they walk you through that process. But I have 5 children, and 3 of them battle the cystic fibrosis, and they kick it in the head. My daughter is one of them. And anyway, so my children, I'm going to tell them they need to be involved with the Urban League, because they have some brilliant masterminds and can come and do some trainings and teachings. You don't know.
We have to stop and pause and just say congratulations, right? And that, I just honor you as a mother. It's not easy. It's not easy with one, let alone five. So let's just honor you for that, because we know in this day and age, it's not easy. There's a lot of things influencing them and pulling on them and pulling at them. And so,
Absolutely.
I just salute you for the work that you've done with those babies, and look at where
Thank you
they're
so
at.
much. Well, one is in heaven, and my
Yes.
son Gabriel's in heaven, and he actually we raise funds for defibrillators to be put in public spaces, so that when sudden cardiac arrest happens, Gabe's Heart Foundation can help place some
Mm,
of those defibrillators around the country to allow time for the paramedics to arrive. Then they can do what they do best, which is their life-saving procedures, but give
wow.
them a chance to get there.
Yes,
So
yes. Gabe's Heart Foundation. That's
yeah,
powerful.
that's in honor of my son. I always wear that all the time. Who has been your biggest support system, as far as there are always people that really lift you up, even though people may see your head above the iceberg? Who would you say are some of your biggest support systems?
Certainly the team that's around me, I mean, I love my team. The team that's around me, I just love them. The team that's around me, they let me be mantic and crazy, and I'm like, I know y'all think we're not going anywhere, and then they're like, oh, this is what she was doing, but just hanging in there. I have to admit, my board chair, his name is Enos Johnson, or we call him AJ. Um, and he's with train technologies. He is such a wonderful coach, and he's so mild mannered, and he doesn't get right. So when I'm thinking big, he's like, Rob, could we just move this down to a bite size? And I'm like, no, let's take on the whole thing. So having a board chair, having a board that allows you, the room to be expansive and a little manic, is big to me. But at the end of the day, when I turn to the right, when I turn to the left, when I don't have a plan, when stuff comes up and I just don't know what to do, it is definitely my mama. I'm like, mama, look, what I'm saying? Listen, I got to do this. I need you. Could you please go pick my babies up? She already got a shoe on before I say pick babies up, right? She got a shoe on and out the door. Or, when I was in grad school, and she was getting my babies in bed and keeping them fed. What I'm saying? It's things like that. My mother-in-law on weekends, when I was like, listen, I am exhausted, I would go there and study there so she could keep an eye on them, and just all those things when I needed to travel, because I knew my husband at the time couldn't comb no hair. I was like, somebody, right. I was like, these pigtails is looking a little wonky, right? So just little things like that. And it would be the ladies at my daughter's school, right? You drop her off early and they comb their hair. And so it's those things that that when I realize it's that I stand up. It's the community. That's the reason I'm so big on wrapping ourselves in community around us. And like I said, it doesn't have to be this big, but it's something that's as simple as, I'm like, if my team is like, listen, I got to be at a meeting, but bring them in here, bring the coloring book, and I got a video call. He can sit in here with me, right? So we have to be able to do those things, So that's my tribe,
Yeah, I wanted to pull them up because you kept talking about them. I said, we are not on an island by ourselves, but as you can see, you have this beautiful support system here with you.
Absolutely.
And,
so proud of them.
so honored to pull
so.
them all up. And look at them. None of them, they look, you can tell that they are so excited about life. It's not, you can't fake that. You can't fake that. This is genuine enthusiasm.
So excited. Jason Bangle there on the corner. He just became the chief financial officer for Lending Trade. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, you've been sitting on finance calls with me and just about the business of the Urban League. So, just the fact that, that they all take out their time to just do these amazing things. Dr. Karen Morgan, phenomenal woman. I'm just like, I can't believe y'all spend, this time and this energy. Anthony Trotman trying to run a whole county alongside Dina DiOrio. Hillary Clinton, she's trying to build a multi-billion-dollar medical school. That's just stuff they just do on, oh, by the way, I'm just going to hang out with you.
I'm just going to help with the Urban League outside of all
the Urban League, because I don't have anything else to do. So just super excited about, just their investment and their time with us. So thank you for that.
I just wanted to show that because you referenced them multiple times throughout today's conversation. And again, everyone, we're talking today with Robyn Hamilton, president of the Urban League in the Central Carolinas area, which we're honored to have her right in our back area. Let's see. I saw some different comments. Lady Justine Hilliard said, that is so awesome. Kimberly Fallis said, I love it, Kim. I know you are so proud of them. My God, continue to bless and cover them. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Queen Mother Kim. Yeah. Okay. Queen Mother. Okay, Stabilize Your Life, Carrie Ann Hilliard. She actually has a program called Help Adolescents Speak Out. And so when I do come over to meet with you one day, I would love to be able to talk to you about some of these different people that I have connections with. Carrie Ann Hilliard is one of them.
Absolutely.
She helps adolescents be able to use their voices to speak out. She also has written a book about overcoming single parent obstacles, and this book called Adulting, How to Deal with Adult Children. So now, Carrie Ann, you pay me later, okay? I'm doing a whole commercial.
Carrie Ann, I need that adulting book, because I tell my kids all the time, I say, listen, this is the first time I've ever been the parent of an adult child. I'm new at this, right? And, I tell, listen, y'all, I ain't never had adult children. This is new for me too. So, just navigating that
together, right?
A whole show. That's a whole other show.
Right. Yeah. That's a whole different show. Mr. H said, are there any free counseling or advocacy resources available?
When you say counseling and advocacy, are we talking mental health counseling? Or when you say counsel, I just want to preface that, because if you're referring to, mental health counseling, one of the sources I call all the time, they probably don't do this work at all, is two things I call Life Connections in Charlotte. They are a wonderful source, as well as believe it or not, Care Ring. It's run by this powerful sister by the name of Genevia Montgomery.
What is that one that you just said, the second one?
Care Ring, CARE, and then RING. And they do a lot of stuff, and they don't do necessarily mental health, but they're just a wealth of knowledge. A lot of times I'll call them and say, I'm like, where can we go and get, XYZ? And so, we'll go and get that. But they're definitely the ones that can probably give you insight to where to go. Life Connections and Care Ring. Yep.
Okay, so make sure you all check that out. The person that asked that question, if there are any kind of available resources, they will at least be able to know how to put you in the right direction to some more resources that will be available to you. So these are great questions you all have asked, and great support throughout today's discussion. I do want to give you the opportunity, because anytime people are tuning into the Kim Jacobs Show, it's important to know that our program is literally only funded by community members. So we look forward to the opportunity to partner with you, and you allow us to continue to bring wonderful guests like Robyn Hamilton and many others here on the show. You can send any type of cash app, no matter how large or how small. Larger is wonderful, though. I don't want to get it twisted. Definitely. All right. You can do that through Cash App, $ Kim Jacobs Inc., or you can even do paypal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc., or Venmo at the Kim Jacobs Show. You can also join two of our membership programs, which is patreon.com/the Kim Jacobs Show, or our Mother Dreamer movement. For any mothers that have goals and dreams and you put them on the back burner, join in with our program, motherdreamer.com/join. And that's for our podcast listeners that don't get a chance to see the broadcast, so I have to kind of word it out. Let's talk about this event that is happening and how, that is more like a overlay. Okay.
Still beautiful.
I'm going to remove us for 1 second so you can see that without us being on. Hold on 1 second. All right. So the Whitney M. Young Jr. Awards Gala is happening on Friday, August 2nd. And I would love for you to just talk to everyone about that for a moment, how people can go about getting tickets to the event and what they can expect at the upcoming event.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. So the Whitney M. Young Jr. Awards Gala, again, that's our signature event that we have each year. We really leverage that at two things: to showcase and talk to people about the work of the Urban League. And secondarily, we get a chance to really honor and bring forward the people that are doing tremendous things in community that certainly have an impact on the work that we're doing as well. And so the gala is so much fun. We do a Harlem Renaissance theme, because I tell people, it just harkens us back to a time when we glammed up on a Thursday night. Right. And just got, and when you look at those pictures, I'm like, oh my goodness, we were so glamorous when we went out, so just giving us a chance to do that, and I tell people, yes, you can wear your fur in August, you know what I'm saying? So I was getting a chance to do that, but it's fun to just sort of, dress up and have fun. And I often tell folks, I was like, if you saw Harlem Nights, that'll give you a sense of, sort of the theme that we're going for. But So we do the Harlem Renaissance theme also because it also just harkens back to an incredible time in community, our incredible time in our history, right? Where, there was so much innovation and there was so much focus on art, economic empowerment. It really was, again, sort of like palpable, like the era is right now time in our history. So that was really important. So we celebrate that. It's going to be at the Westin. You will be able to, go to www.urbanleaguecc.org to find out information about tickets and coming. Last year we sold out. This year we are on the verge of selling out because we always want to just have a really great time and have really great people there. I'm excited. Our young professionals are going to be hosting the after party, so I don't know what that's going to be. But,
you might be a new addition there, but probably not.
Yeah, ain't gonna be no new addition, but I'm gonna go anyway. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go anyway, but no new addition's gonna be there. So
you be doing the old school.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was gonna say, that this and they need to learn it. Plus they're gonna do the dance and be like, oh, I'm like, y'all, we was doing that way back. You know how we do.
Right.
Now I'll tell you what I can't do. I said, y'all, there are 96 line dances. When I grew up, there were like 2. You know what I'm saying? Maybe 2, but all these different line dances, I can't do all those. But, it's just a good time for us to do what we do. We know the universal song that gets us on the floor, and just to have a good time and just celebrate. But it really is a time for us to focus in on looking at the work of the league, the continued value of the league, the importance of the investment in the league, as well as the continued investment and the importance of investment into community. So we're excited to have folks there and love to see everybody come support it.
I'm so excited that Governor Roy Cooper will be receiving the Whitney M. Young Jr. Award for demonstrated leadership and support of the AA community through community leadership and investment. Rick McGregor will receive the Vernon E. Jordan Award for outstanding community service. The Mecklenburg Council of Elders Community Catalyst Award for catalyzing others for the greater good. And then the CELC CMS Executives in Residence will receive the Community Leadership Awards for their efforts to support transformative work in the Charlotte Mecklenburg schools. Woo! And many sponsors to thank. And I didn't want to put you on the spot to say all of these sponsors.
That's okay. Listen, I can tell you right now, Atrium Health, Wells Fargo, Train, Truist, they stepped up in ways this year. There was a moment this past year, a lot of folks in May, we graduated the largest class ever in the history of the organization. We graduated 102 people. And that was one cohort. And like I said, my team killed it. We graduated 102 people and had like a 79% placement in jobs, but almost 100% in certifications that they received their certification. And it garnered the attention of the U.S. Secretary of Labor, Julie Seuss, who came down and was our keynote speaker. And I call that out as a memorable moment because, when you see on a national level that they're recognizing the work that this little old urban league is doing down here and the impact that it's going to have in life, that's what we want to be talking about. Those are things we want to celebrate, at the Urban League. But it's also a time where I'm going to challenge folks, that we have to support our Urban League at a level that is being seen around the United States if we want to have an Urban League that can do the work that needs to be done in our community as well. And so again, that becomes a time where we can talk about what that work looks like and what the importance of that work will be. So just excited to have a good time, and just honor those that should be honored. So.
All right, y'all. So you can't miss this event. One more time, we'll pop it up and we're going to get ready to close out here. But just want to make sure that you go ahead and grab the last few seats that are available for Whitney M. Young Jr. Awards Gala. So if you don't already have your tickets and you are in the Charlotte and surrounding areas, it's going to be at the Westin Charlotte. And it's Friday, August 2nd, 2024. Make sure that you get your tickets. And it's in honor of Whitney M. Young and his wonderful service that he provided from 1961 to 1971 with the Urban League. All right. Any closing comment, Robyn?
Just an honor. Like I said, I honor you, Kim, just for the work that you're doing, for the women that continue to push forward. It is the year of the woman. Well, it's always the year of the woman, but it's clearly the year of the woman. And I know for a fact we have lots of work ahead, and I'm excited to have you in lockstep and locking arms with you, Kim Jacobs, too, on this journey. And thank you so much for the time to talk a little bit about the work and the work that we still have yet ahead to do. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for gracing us with your presence. And I can only see almost probably like the Whitney M Young situation. You're filling some big shoes, but I think that you are the woman for the challenge. And for such a time as this, I'm so excited.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right, everybody, that's today's episode. Listen, tune in Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on The Kim Jacobs Show. I love each and every one of you. And thank you for allowing us to bring balance to the world, one household at a time. Stay backstage, Robyn. I'll be right back with you. All right. Take care, everybody. Love you all and have a great day. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference. And I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you and make it a great day.